A lot of students focus on drilling questions by type, but the thing is that LSAT test day is not a drill. It's not enough to get the questions right. You got to get them right under test day conditions, considering time management, pacing, and endurance. And so today we're going to do several LSAT question drills of all different types, not just reading comp, not just logical reasoning, but both, considering inference, negation, formal logic, flaw identification. Let's jump right in with LSAT question number 1. And so here we have it, LSAT question number 1. Take a moment to read it, give it a shot. When you're ready, just drop your answer in the chat, A, B, C, or D, but do commit to something. While cramming for the LSAT, Kim K tells her tutor that whenever she completes a full timed section calmly, she reliably avoids careless errors. Today, she completed a full section calmly. What can we infer? A, she avoided every error on this section. B, she avoided careless errors on this section. C, she completed full multiple calm sections today. Or D, she finished ahead of the allotted time. When you have your answer, please drop your answer in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark, but do commit to something. What can we infer? Got a couple folks dropping their answers in here. Of course, we've got a conditional statement. We have a conclusion, an outcome. So what can we infer based on that? She completed a full section calmly. We know that when she completes a full section calmly, she reliably avoids careless errors. The final sentence is the sufficient condition activating the conditional statement. So of course we infer she reliably avoids careless errors. Ton of folks got it. Anne, AMC, Autumn, Ardens, Passion, Mott, Yannick, all saying B as in Bravo. B is in fact correct. Well done. On to number 2. In Suits, Donna explains that if Harvey approves a deposition request, the associate must file it that same day. Harvey just approved one. What can we infer? A, the associate must file it today. B, the associate already filed it earlier. C, Harvey will also argue the motion. Or D, the deposition will definitely be granted. When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark, but do commit to an answer. Got a couple folks dropping their answers in here, similar to the last one, a bit easier just to get us warmed up. We got some folks dropping answers in: Anne, Autumn, AMC, Ardens, Mott, Passion, Edward, Osvaldo, Yannick, all saying A, the associate must file it today. That is in fact correct. Same as the previous. Harvey approves, then associate files it that same day. Well done, the answer is A. On to number 3. So for number 3, while studying, Elle Woods notes that if her outline is complete, she quizzes herself. If she quizzes herself, she reviews wrong answers afterward. Her outline is complete today. What can we infer? A, she will definitely get every question right. B, she will review only correct answers. C, she will quiz herself and review wrong answers. Or D, she will skip quizzing to rest instead. Maybe some of you can relate. When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark. We got some folks dropping their answers in here. A lot of folks saying C. Let's see who says it. C, Autumn, Anne, AMC, Mott, Edward, Ardens, Osvaldo, Passion, all saying C. C is in fact correct. Well done. If her outline's complete, that activates the conditional chain. If complete, she quizzes, then she reviews afterward. That's exactly what she says in choice C. Well done, folks. On to number 4. In Better Call Saul, Kim Wexler tells Jimmy that whenever a client misses a deadline, she immediately renegotiates terms. When she renegotiates terms, she updates the case plan. A client just missed a deadline. What can we infer? A, she will renegotiate terms and update the case plan. B, she will only update the case plan. C, she will ignore this missed deadline. Or D, Jimmy will update the plan instead. When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D, but do commit to something. Once again, the client just missed a deadline, activates the conditional chain, leading to the chain reaction of renegotiating terms and updating the case plan. Tony, you got it. Autumn, Anne, Mott, Yannick, AMC, Tanya, Passion, Monet, Osvaldo all saying A. A is in fact correct. Well done. On to number 5. During a late night strategy meeting, Harvey notes that if opposing counsel files a surprise motion, he dispatches Donna to gather intel. If Donna gathers intel, he adjusts the argument's framing. Opposing counsel just filed such a motion. What can we infer? A. Harvey may abandon the argument entirely. B. Donna will gather intel, prompting Harvey to adjust framing. C. Donna will argue the motion herself. Or D. The court will reject the motion automatically. When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark, but do commit to an answer. Commit now, since you'll have to commit on test day. Better to get it wrong now so that you don't get it wrong on test day. I see a lot of you are dropping answers in the chat. Awesome. Once again, note the pattern here. We have a conditional statement or a conditional chain, and then a variable activating the conditional chain. They tell us concretely, opposing counsel just filed such a motion. If they do that, then it activates the chain reaction. He dispatches Donna to gather intel, then as a result, adjusts the argument's framing. That is exactly what B as in Bravo says. I see a ton of you got it. Anne, Monet, Zuli, Mott, Ardens, Edward, Autumn, Osvaldo, Passion, Yannick, all saying choice B as in Bravo. B as in Bravo is in fact correct. Well done, folks. Y'all are nailing it. We're 5 in so far. Out of these 5, please drop in the chat how many you got right. Are you 5 for 5? Are you 4 for 5? If you came a little bit late, just update us where you stand in terms of how many you got right out of the number that you did. That gives us all a sense of where we're at and how to adjust things potentially going forward. I see Anne got 5 out of 5. Awesome. Well done, Anne. AMC got 4 out of 5. Also great. Passion got 5 out of 5. Zuli got 1 for 1, 100%. Osvaldo 4 for 4. Unique 4 for 5. Autumn 5 for 5. Awesome, folks. We're doing great. Let's go on to number 6. While studying for the LSAT, Kim K says every practice brief Donna reviews is perfectly formatted, suggesting all her briefs meet that standard. Now we are negating. Negating is a great tactic to use for necessary assumption questions. We are looking for the logical opposite of the original. So what is the negation or the logical opposite of something in the stimulus or the passage here? Note this is similar to cannot be true. We want a choice that is mutually exclusive or impossible to be true based on the information in the passage. When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark, but do commit to an answer. So they're suggesting here that all briefs are perfectly formatted, meeting that standard. To negate that, if all are perfectly formatted, the negation would be that not all are perfectly formatted or some are not. So the opposite of all is not all or some are not. I see a ton of you got it. Negation experts, fantastic. AMC says A, Anne, Monet, Osvaldo, Autumn, Yannick, Passion, Ardens, all saying A. A is in fact correct because again, when we're negating, the opposite of all is not all, meaning some are not. Well done. On to number 7 now. During a suits meeting, Harvey claims no client who follows his strategy ever faces delays in filing. Let's negate this statement, finding the logical opposite of the original. So take a moment, give it a shot. When you have your answer, when you're ready, drop your answer in the chat, please. So the original, no client who follows his strategy ever faces delays in filing. So what is the opposite of none or nobody? The logical opposite to disprove the original. Give you all a minute. So just like before in the previous example, the opposite of all was not all, meaning some are not. In this case, the opposite of none would be some or at least one. So if no one ever faces delays in the original, the opposite would be some or at least somebody does face delays. And I see a ton of you got it. We got, let's see here, a ton of folks saying B, AMC, Matt, Anne, Osvaldo, Anne, Yannick, Zuli, Autumn, Passion, Ardens, all saying B as in Bravo. Some do face delays. Air Force also got it. Fantastic. I saw somebody chose C as in Charlie. Every client, that's a polar opposite. We want a logical opposite. So opposite of none or no one is some or at least one. Every would be far too strong. That's the polar opposite, but we just want the logical opposite. So be on the lookout for that common mistake. On to number 8. Elle asserts that each mock cross she conducts includes a surprise objection. What is the negation or the logical opposite here? A, some mock crosses occur without any surprise objection. B, many mock crosses feature multiple objections. C, most objections come from other students. Or D, no objections appear during any exercise. We want the negation or the logical opposite to help us better solve necessary assumption questions. So each meaning every, meaning all. That's the original statement. So we're looking for the logical opposite of each, every, all, meaning not all, or some are not, or at least one is not. I see a ton of you got it here. Awesome. The answer is in fact choice A, Mott, Zuli, Autumn, AMC, Air Force, Passion, Monet, Osvaldo, and Unique. Ardens, Edward, all saying A. A is in fact correct. Well done, folks. You're nailing these, doing fantastic. On to number 9. Jimmy, prepping in Better Call Saul, claims all late night study sessions produce sharper logic games performance the next morning. What is the negation of this statement, the logical opposite? A, some late night sessions reduce next morning performance. B, most sessions involve no logic games practice. C, every session ends far too early. Or D, no sessions affect performance at all. Well, we certainly hope that's not the case. We want the sessions to be impactful, right? So when you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark. So the original says all late night study sessions produce sharper performance. So the opposite of all is not all, or some do not. Some do not produce sharper performance the next morning. So some do not would be our pre-phrase. I see a ton of folks here got it. A lot of folks saying A. Let's see here. So we got here Monet, Mott, Autumn, Zuli, Unique, Passion, Osvaldo, AMC, Air Force, and Ardens, Edward, all saying A. Well done. A is in fact correct. The opposite of all is not all, or some do not. Well done. On to number 10. Rachel in Suits insists that every paralegal trained under her develops flawless assumption analysis regardless of experience. Let's negate this. A, some paralegals trained under her do not develop flawless analysis. B, all paralegals instantly become expert analysts. C, paralegals rarely study assumption analysis at all. Or D, no paralegal receives any training from Rachel. When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark, but do commit to an answer. So original says every paralegal trained under her. The opposite would be not all, or some do not. Note that choice D as in Delta. No paralegal would be more like a polar opposite. Far too strong. We want some do not. Only one choice even says some. I see a lot of you got it correct. Fantastic. A lot of folks saying A. Well done. Autumn, Passion, Osvaldo, Edward, Ardens, Zuli, all saying A. A is in fact correct. Well done, folks. We're 10 in now. Out of these 10 that we've done so far, please drop in the chat how many you got right out of these first 10. If you're 10 for 10, awesome. If you're 8 for 8 and you missed the first couple, drop that in as well. And by the way, folks, we run these classes every single weekday at the same time as right now, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 Central, 11 Pacific, every weekday here on the LSAT Unplugged YouTube channel. You can also catch the recordings of all the previous classes we've done here on the channel also. See, a lot of folks are learning a lot, doing great. Passion's 10 for 10, Autumn 10 for 10, AMC and Unique 9 out of 10, Osvaldo 9 for 9, Zuli 6 for 6. And by the way, folks, if you're taking the LSAT in January, February, April, June, or beyond, you're looking for help, I'm offering free LSAT tutoring lessons to everybody out there watching this. You can book that free call with me here at unpluggedprep.com/start. Link below the video on YouTube. Link in my bio on TikTok and Instagram as well. Happy to help out anybody out there and help you craft your action plan for your LSAT prep going forward. On to number 11. While preparing for a suit's deposition, Donna notes that Harvey objects whenever a witness dodges a timeline question, and in today's prep, he objected immediately. What can we infer? A, the witness definitely lied about everything. B, the witness avoided a timeline question. C, Harvey lacked any strategy today. Or D, Donna coached the witness improperly. What can we infer from this passage? What is a logical inference that we can make without going too far? What is supported by the text? Think of this like a reading comp inference question or a most strongly supported logical reasoning question. I see a ton of folks got it. Awesome. Anne, Autumn, Zuli, AMC, Monet, Passion, Unique, Christina, Cassandra, Ardens, Sony, all saying B. Edward saying B. Correct. Well done, folks. The answer is in fact B. If he objected, that kicks off or activates the conditional statement in the passage, telling us that if the witness dodges, then he objects. The witness dodged. He objected, therefore the witness dodged. Well done, folks. On to number 12. During LSAT practice, Kim K says that if a rule in a logic game repeats, she redraws the board. Today, the rule repeated twice. What can we infer? A, she must ignore the repeated rule. B, she redraws the board today. C, the game becomes unsolvable. Or D, she abandons diagramming entirely. What can we infer based on the information in the passage? If the rule repeats, she redraws. The rule repeated, we can infer that she redraws. Again, just activating the conditional statement. That's the inference that we can draw here reasonably based on that. We learned the sufficient occurred, therefore the necessary must occur as well, and she redraws the board. I see a ton of you got it. Well done. Anne, Passion, Ardens, Osvaldo, Christina, Cassandra, Monet, Unique, all saying B, Passion saying B. Well done, folks. The answer is in fact B. She redraws the board today. On to number 13, getting a little bit tougher now. In Better Call Saul, Jimmy explains that if a client misses a filing deadline, he files a motion for extension. A client's deadline was missed this morning. What can we infer? A, Jimmy must win the extension. B, the client will be sanctioned. C, Jimmy files an extension motion. Or D, the court automatically grants relief. When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat. A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark, but do commit to something. Commit now, since you'll have to commit on test day. Better to get it right. Better to learn now, get it wrong now, so you don't get it wrong on test day. And yes, if the client misses the deadline, then that activates the conditional and he files the motion for extension. The answer is C. A ton of you got it. Well done. Ardens, Passion, Cassandra, Osvaldo, Autumn, Unique, Edward, Air Force, all saying C. Magda saying C. Well done, folks. The answer is in fact C. Activating the conditional requires the necessary level. And so Sony asks, what is the difficulty level of these questions? And so we're doing it on 3 tiers: easy, medium, hard. Green is meant to be easier, yellow is medium, and red is more difficult. On to 14, another medium level question. On Legally Blonde, Elle notes that if evidence is authenticated, she introduces it. If she introduces it, opposing counsel must respond. Today, the evidence is authenticated. What can we infer? What is supported by the text in the passage? So when you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. And to be fair, of course, these are not as hard as official LSAT questions. We're trying to make these a little bit more bite-sized and beginner-friendly. Of course, in our LSAT coaching programs and our courses, we go over official questions from the prep test, which of course get a lot harder than these. These are meant to kind of just get your feet wet and get you some practice and exposure, keeping it a bit lighter. And so I see some folks dropping answers into the chat here. A ton of folks saying A, which is in fact correct. We got Magda, Edward, Ardens, Osvaldo, Autumn, Passion, Cassandra, Zuli, Unique, Christina, all saying A. Well done. The answer is in fact A. Opposing counsel must respond. We learned in the final sentence, evidence was authenticated, kicking off the conditional chain, telling us opposing counsel must respond. Well done, folks. On to number 15. This one's meant to be a bit harder. That's why we have the red circle here. A suit's briefing states that if a contract clause is ambiguous, Harvey argues intent. If intent remains unclear, he challenges enforceability. The clause is ambiguous, but intent is already clear. What can we infer? A, Harvey challenges enforceability immediately. B, Harvey argues intent only. C, clause ambiguity resolves enforceability. Or D, he argues intent but does not challenge enforceability. What can we infer? So clause is ambiguous, but intent is already clear. So the clause was ambiguous, right? So because the clause was ambiguous, that activates the first conditional statement, and we know he's going to argue intent. For the second part, intent is already clear. So we are not activating the second conditional statement, meaning that we don't know whether he's challenging enforceability or not. It's open-ended. So I see a mix of answers here, some folks saying B, some folks saying D. And I think that's because there's a little bit of ambiguity here, right? So he's arguing intent. We know that because of the first conditional statement. But for the second conditional statement, we don't know whether it's being activated or not, because intent was already clear, meaning it does not remain unclear. But if we negate a sufficient condition, we don't know whether the necessary will be activated or not. So we know he's arguing intent, but we don't know whether he's challenging enforceability or not. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give folks a moment here, looking at B, looking at D. Neither one really hits it precisely. I see someone saying C. AMC says, I want to say C, but I'm stuck. So clause ambiguity resolves enforceability. That's improperly connecting two different parts that were not connected in the passage, right? So it's a distortion or confusion or a mix of two different parts that were not connected originally. So ambiguity and enforceability were two separate things. So what I'm going to say here is that all we can infer is the intent portion. We know he argues intent, but we don't know whether he's challenging enforceability or not. So D is incorrect because we don't know whether he's challenging enforceability or not. All we know right now is that he's arguing intent, but we don't know whether he'll challenge enforceability or not. So for that reason, B is a better answer because we know all we can infer is that he's arguing intent. So B is the best answer out of these. It's not ideally worded though, because it doesn't address the ambiguity around the enforceability portion. So I'm going to say, I'm going to give you a point if you got B. I'm going to give you half a point if you chose D because it was close, but not quite there. So we're 15 in so far. Out of these first 15, please drop in the chat how many you got right. If you got 15 for 15, drop that down. If you got 12 out of 15, drop that down as well. Just let us know where you stand. If you're not sure, if you came late, just let us know what you got right out of the ones that you did. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for your participation. I know these are tough. This was a bit of a harder one. Matt says, that was a doozy. Thanks for clarifying. 14 for 15. I see Monet got 14 as well. Awesome. AMC got 13 as well. Passion got 15. Yannick got 14 out of 15. Osvaldo got 14 out of 14. Awesome. We're going to keep going here. On to number 16. While studying with Kim K, a suits associate claims that because mock trials feel smoother after practicing opening statements, mastering openings guarantees overall courtroom success. What is the main conclusion here? We got a Kim K suits crossover edition here. A, practicing openings improves specific courtroom skills. B, smooth openings ensure total courtroom success. C, courtroom success never depends on other factors. Or D, mock trials accurately mirror real trials. When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark, but do commit to an answer. So we got a mix of answers here. Some folks saying A, some folks saying B. I'll give folks another moment to try and resolve some of that ambiguity there. So what is the conclusion of this statement? They say because mock trials feel smoother after practicing openings, mastering openings guarantees overall courtroom success. So the second half of the passage, the final clause, is going to be our conclusion building up to that. We had the because indicating evidence. Second half is conclusion. Mastering openings guarantees overall courtroom success. B as in Bravo is a paraphrase of that, saying smooth openings ensure total courtroom success. So guarantees matches up with ensure. Smooth openings, mastering openings lines up as well. So the answer is in fact B. Ton of folks got it. Air Force, Autumn, Passion, Unique, Edward, Osvaldo, Christina, Arden, Zuli, all saying B. Monet saying B. Cassandra, AMC, all saying B. The answer is in fact B, folks. Well done. On to number 17 now. Elle Woods tells a classmate that since reviewing cases helps her spot issues faster, anyone who reviews cases will automatically outperform others on exams. What is the main conclusion? A, case review increases familiarity with issues. B, issue spotting always guarantees exam dominance. C, exams depend solely on case review. Or D, some students never review cases. When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark, but do commit to an answer. What is the conclusion here? We have since in the first line indicating evidence. Then after the comma, we have the following part, which is the conclusion. Anyone who reviews cases will automatically outperform others on exams. So we want a paraphrase of the second half, the part after the comma. What is the closest match to the part after the comma? Anyone who reviews cases automatically outperforms. Reviewing cases helps spot issues faster. And so they're saying that reviewing cases leads to essentially issue spotting, and the issue spotting leads to outperformance, meaning B as in Bravo is the best match. Ton of folks got it. Matt, Ardens, Monet, Air Force, Anne, Osvaldo, Passion, Autumn, Christina, Zuli, all saying B. Air Force, Autumn saying B. Yes, the answer is in fact B. Well done, folks. That is the answer. I see AMC says, I'm stuck between B and C, but I'm choosing B. Good choice there. C is a bit too strong, saying exams depend solely on case review, meaning nothing else matters. Far too strong. They're saying that this will lead to exam dominance, but C saying it's the only factor. Maybe there are other factors as well that could contribute. So C is too strong, going beyond the scope. On to number 18. Jimmy in Better Call Saul argues that because two negotiations improved after he used a new strategy, the same tactics will reliably fix all future client disputes. What is the main point? A, the tactic worked well twice. B, all future disputes are solvable with that tactic. C, some disputes involve unpredictable factors. Or D, clients often demand different approaches. When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark, but do commit to an answer. So we have a bunch of answers coming in here. Some folks saying A, some saying B, some saying C. So two negotiations improved after he used the new strategy. Therefore, it'll reliably fix all future disputes. So A says the tactic worked well twice, which of course is true, but is that the main point? We could certainly infer that it worked well twice. It's reasonable to assume that that was the reason why they improved. Not a guarantee, of course, but likely. But the point here is that all future disputes will be fixed by that same tactic. So the folks who said B as in Bravo are in fact correct. Christina, Edward, AMC, Ardens, Monet, Passion, Autumn, Mott, Air Force, Zuli, all saying B. Well done, folks. The answer is in fact B. All future disputes. That was the final clause of the passage. Well done. On to number 19. A junior at Pearson Hardman states that since one paralegal's timeline summary clarified a complex matter, delegating all summaries to paralegals will always resolve confusion in major cases. What's the main conclusion? A, paralegal summaries helped in one instance. B, delegating summaries always eliminates confusion. C, some cases require more than summaries. Or D, Partners sometimes draft summaries themselves. When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark, but please do commit to an answer. A lot of folks dropping answers here. Look at, again, once again, we have since in the first line indicating evidence. Then we have the part after the comma indicating conclusion. And we want essentially a paraphrase of that final portion. So delegating all summaries will always resolve confusion. What paraphrase is that? Choice B does, because it says delegating summaries always eliminates confusion. Passage says always resolves confusion, eliminates confusion. Pretty good paraphrase. So B as in Bravo is in fact the answer. Well done. Ton of folks got it. Autumn, Edward, Mott, AMC, Air Force, Osvaldo, Christina, Anne, Arden's, Passion, Unique, all saying B. B is in fact the answer. Well done, folks. On to number 20. During a late night LSAT session, Kim K asserts that because diagramming conditional chains improved her accuracy on a set of practice problems, conditional diagramming alone is sufficient for mastering every logical reasoning question type. What is the main conclusion? A, diagramming helped her recent practice. B, all LSAT mastery requires only conditional diagramming. C, some LR types need varied strategies. Or D, practice sets often vary in difficulty. So what's the best articulation here of the main conclusion? When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark. So again, we have because here in the first half, because diagramming conditionals indicating evidence. Then we have the part after the arrow indicating conclusion. The part after the comma is going to be our conclusion. So conditional diagramming alone is sufficient for mastering every logical reasoning question type, meaning that's all you need, nothing else. And so B as in Bravo, all LSAT mastery requires only conditional diagramming is a good paraphrase of what we have in the second half of the stimulus or the passage. Well done. A lot of folks got it. The answer is B as in Bravo. Christina got it. Edward, Mott, Anne, Zuli, Air Force, Unique, Arden, chatting with Sam, Osvaldo, Monet, all saying B as in Bravo. B is in fact the answer. Well done, folks. We're 20 in so far. Out of these first 20, please drop in the chat how many you got right. Give us a sense of where you stand. If you're 20 for 20, put that down. If you came late, missed the first couple, just drop in what you got right out of the number that you did. By the way, folks, we're doing these free classes every single weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 Central, 11 Pacific here on the LSAT Unplugged YouTube channel. You can also access all the recordings here. If you find these helpful, please spread the word. I don't do any advertising for these classes. The only way this grows is through word of mouth. And the more this grows, the more of these I'm going to keep doing and expand them and grow them out over time. Ton of folks doing great here. Christina is 10 for 10. Monet is 18 for 20. Air Force is 13 for 14. AMC is 18 for 20. Mott 19 for 20. Osvaldo 19 for 19. Passion 20 for 20. Autumn 19 for 20. Awesome. Y'all are doing great, getting a lot of these right. Fantastic. On to number 21. Kim K, reviewing LSAT arguments, notes that when she finishes outlining quickly, she always double checks her assumptions before choosing an answer. Today, she finished outlining quickly. Now we're negating. What is the logical opposite? What cannot be true based on the passage? Meaning, if that correct answer choice were true, it would destroy or invalidate the argument in the passage. So she finished outlining quickly. Therefore, we know that she always double checks. So what's the negation of the inference that we would logically draw from the statement? So these are a little bit tougher because we're both making an inference based on the conditional, and then we are negating the result. So we're both making an inference and we're also negating, and we're combining multiple skills here, leveling up the difficulty just a little bit because it's not fun if you're always getting everything right all the time. We want you getting some things wrong so you don't get them wrong on test day. So because we learned that she finished outlining quickly, again, it activated the conditional, meaning we could infer she always double checks. So we want the negation of saying she always double checks, meaning she does not always double check, or she does not double check today, since the variable we learned was about today specifically. So the answer is in fact B. She does not double check them today. A ton of you got it. Fantastic. Edward, Anne, Passion, Unique, Air Force, Osvaldo, Monet, Mott, AMC, Autumn, fantastic, all saying B as in Bravo. B is in fact correct. Well done, folks, you're doing great. On to number 22. While studying in the library, Elle Woods follows a rule. If she highlights a passage, she must then restate it in her own words. She highlighted today's main argument section. What is the logical negation of the inference that we could draw based on the information in the passage? So when you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark, but do commit to an answer, please. So if we learn that she highlighted today's main argument section, that means she highlighted a passage. Therefore, she must restate it in her own words. We want to negate that statement, right? So we're saying she does not need to restate it in her own words, which is what C as in Charlie says. She need not restate that passage. She does not need to restate it. Well done. Ton of folks got it. Unique says C. Ardens, Osvaldo, Edward, AMC, Passion, Autumn, Christina, and Mott, all saying C. Fantastic. The answer is, in fact, C as in Charlie. B as in Bravo was the inference, but we then need to negate that to get to choice C. So C is the answer. Well done. On to number 23. During a suits prep session, Donna claims whenever Harvey identifies a key premise, he inevitably sketches a quick flowchart. This time, Harvey identified a key premise. What's the negation? A, he might skip the flowchart this time. B, he always sketches flowcharts. C, Donna misread the premise. Or D, the premise was trivial. When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark, but do commit to an answer. So Harvey identified a key premise. Therefore, we can infer he must sketch a quick flowchart. The negation of that is he does not need to sketch a quick flowchart, or he might skip it, which is, of course, A. Ton of you got it. Air Force got it. Unique, Osvaldo, Autumn, AMC, and Zuli, Passion, Monet, Edward, Mott, all saying A. Well done. The answer is, in fact, A. He might skip the flowchart. This time is the negation of what we could infer. On to 24. In Better Call Saul, Kim Wexler tells Jimmy that if their case theory holds, they will prepare a targeted objection list. She insists the theory holds here. What is the logical negation? A, they might prepare the list cautiously. B, the theory might not hold after all. C, they will still prepare the list. Or D, the list is optional for complex cases. So first you draw an inference, then you negate. That's what we're playing with here for today's drill, this drill set right now. So if she insists the theory holds here, that kicks off the conditional statement. They will prepare a targeted objection list. To negate that, we say they do not need to prepare a targeted objection list, right? Theory holds, they prepare a targeted objection list. The theory holds, therefore they prepare a targeted objection list. So a lot of folks saying B as in Bravo. Someone says D. Some folks said B, some folks said D. Interesting. So we had a flood of B's at first. I don't know if there was a delay in the chat here, but now we're seeing something else, right? So again, back it up. She insists the theory holds here. That kicks off the conditional statement saying, therefore, we can infer they will prepare a targeted objection list. To negate that, they do not need to prepare a targeted objection list. They do not need to. So the best fit for that would be choice D as in Delta. The list is optional. They do not need to. That would be the best fit for this. I'll admit that the additional part at the end for complex cases maybe shouldn't be there. Not a perfect drill, but we'll say the list is optional, or they do not need to prepare a targeted objection list would be the best fit. If I were to prephrase or predict my negation for this, it would be they do not need to prepare a targeted objection list. So again, choice B as in Bravo only negates the final statement in the passage, which is a negation of that. But for this exercise, we're negating the inference that we could draw, right? So We're first taking the constant variable, we're activating the conditional statement, then taking the negation of the inference that we draw. I know it's a bit of a roundabout drill, a little bit tougher than what we've done previously. So again, my prephrase would be, they do not need to prepare a targeted objection list. If you chose D, I'll give it to you. If you chose B, I'll give you a half point on this one. On to number 25. Yeah, it was a tough one, Autumn. Yeah. So number 25, Harvey lectures a new associate. If the timeline is consistent, their argument gains credibility. If credibility increases, settlement talks usually accelerate. He claims the timeline is consistent here. What is the logical negation? A, settlement talks may be slower than expected. B, credibility increases rapidly. C, credibility always increases with consistency. Or D, settlement talks necessarily accelerate. When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark, but do commit to an answer. Okay, so final sentence. He claims the timeline is consistent here. That kicks off the conditional chain. If consistent, argument gains credibility, then settlement talks usually accelerate. To negate that, we're saying they're not so likely to accelerate, meaning slower than expected. Matches up with choice A. Well done, folks. I see a ton of you got it. Passion, Ardens, Air Force, AMC, Monet, Unique, Autumn, Osvaldo, Christina, Mott, Edward. Fantastic. All saying choice A. The answer is in fact A. Well done. Talks may be slower than expected, meaning lining up with the idea that they're not accelerating. And Unique, if you have a question, feel free to drop it in. I'll do my best to address it if I can in the context here. So we're 25 in, folks. The answer was A for 25, by the way. Please drop in the chat how many you got right out of the number that you did. If you're 25 for 25, fantastic. If you came a little bit later, missed the first couple, just update us on how many you got right out of the number that you did. Give us a sense of where you're at. And by the way, folks, if you're looking for support with your LSAT prep, I'm offering free private one-on-one LSAT tutoring lessons to everybody out there watching this. You can book your free call with me at unpluggedprep.com/start. Link below the video on YouTube. Link in my bio on Instagram and TikTok. Also pinned here in the chat. A lot of folks doing great. AMC 23 out of 25, Autumn 23 out of 25, and 22 out of 25, Mott 24 out of 25, Unique 22 out of 25, Christina 13 for 15, Osvaldo 23, Monet 23, Air Force 15, Passion 24 out of 0.5 out of 25. Awesome. Y'all are doing great. On to number 26 now. While cramming for the LSAT, Kim K notes that whenever she reviews cases with clear timelines, she spots contradictions faster. She is reviewing a case with a clear timeline now. What can we infer? So straight up inference, making logical deductions based on the information in the text, in the passage. We take the concrete statement and we use it to see what impact it has when combined with the conditional statement. So she's reviewing a case with a clear timeline now. Kicks off a chain reaction, right? So when you have your answer, please drop it in the chat. Let us know where you're at. All right, so reviewing a case with a clear timeline now means therefore she spots contradictions faster. C as in Charlie best lines up with that. She may spot contradictions more quickly now. The answer is in fact C, and a ton of folks got it. Awesome. Giovanna says C, Air Force, Unique, and Christina, Mott, Edward, all saying C. Fantastic. The answer is in fact C. I see a ton of folks got it. Excellent. That's amazing. Y'all are doing great. On to number 27. In Suits, Donna tells Harvey that if a witness is calm, the deposition usually proceeds smoothly. Today's witness is calm during prep. What can we infer? A, the deposition will definitely go smoothly. B, the deposition cannot have any issues. C, the deposition may proceed smoothly. Or D, Donna guaranteed a perfect deposition. When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark, but do commit to an answer. So if the witnesses come, that kicks off the conditional statement. and says the deposition usually proceeds smoothly. Note that A is a bit too strong, saying it will definitely go smoothly. We want to say it's likely to go smoothly. The best fit for that is the extremely moderate and lukewarm choice, C as in Charlie, may proceed smoothly. A bit weaker than it needed to be. It could have been a little bit stronger, but it's still good. It's still accurate, of course. It's okay to be more moderate, just not okay to be more extreme. So C is in fact the answer. Ton of folks got it. Autumn, AMC, Passion, Edward, Christina, Giovanna, Zuli, Unique, Matt, Air Force, all saying C. C is in fact correct. Well done, folks. On to 28. Kim K explains to a study partner that if her practice set has fewer conditional chains, she finishes with fewer mistakes. Today's set has fewer conditional chains than usual. What can we infer? A, she will avoid every mistake entirely today. B, she may finish with fewer mistakes than usual. C, she has mastered all conditional logic. Or D, she must increase her pacing speed now. When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark. So, concrete statement, today's set has fewer conditional chains than usual. Therefore, we can conclude she finishes with fewer mistakes. B as in Bravo, matches that well, may finish with fewer mistakes than usual. Tony, you got it. Awesome. Unique. Matt, Christina, Giovanna, Zuli, Anne, Air Force, Monet, all saying B. Edward says B. Passion says B. Fantastic. The answer is in fact B. Well done. On to 29. On Better Call Saul, Jimmy notes that when opposing counsel relies heavily on vague timelines, cross-examination often becomes easier. The current opposing brief uses vague timelines. What can we infer? A. Cross-examination must expose major errors. B. Cross-examination may be easier in this case. C. The brief contains fabricated details. Or D. Counsel intentionally weakened their argument. What can we infer? So we know concretely they use vague timelines. The current brief uses vague timelines, kicks off the conditional. If they're using it, that's what they're doing. They're relying heavily on them, certainly. Cross-examination often becomes easier. What best fits that? Of course, choice B. Cross-examination may be easier in this case. Ton of folks got it. Christina, Osvaldo, AMC, Zuli, Passion, Unique, Giovanna, Matt, Autumn, Monet, all saying B. Edward saying B. Yes, the answer is in fact B. Well done. On to number 30. During a Legally Blonde mock trial, L observes that if a witness shifts tone abruptly, the jury may infer uncertainty. And if they infer uncertainty, the argument's persuasiveness can decrease. Today's witness shifts tone abruptly. Once again, kicking off the conditional chain. So let's see, where does that lead to? What is the consequence? Activates the conditional chain, infer uncertainty, therefore persuasiveness can decrease. When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. Ton of folks dropping answers in here. Awesome. Choice C as in Charlie. The argument's persuasiveness may decrease. A lot of folks got it. Passion, Giovanna, Zuli, Anne, Autumn, Unique, Osvaldo, Christina, AMC, all saying C as in Charlie. Yes, the answer is in fact C. Well done, folks. We're 30 questions in so far. You're all doing great. Please update in the chat how many you got right out of the number that you did, so we can get a general sense of your accuracy. And again, if anybody wants some free support with their LSAT prep and wants to meet with me personally, one-on-one over Zoom, you can book a free LSAT tutoring lesson with me personally at unpluggedprep.com/start. Link below the video on YouTube, pinned in the chat as well, or in my bio on TikTok or Instagram. Happy to meet with as many of you as possible and help you craft an action plan for your LSAT prep. You all are doing great. Giovanna got 5 for 5. Passion got 29.5 out of 30. Anne got 26 for 30. Matt 29. Autumn 28. AMC 28.5. Air Force 20. Unique 27 of 30. Doing great, folks. On to 31. While watching Suits, a student notes that some practice questions feel easy when Harvey explains them during group review sessions. What is the logical negation of this statement? Logical negation, logical opposite, useful for solving necessary assumption questions, correct choice when negated, destroys the argument. So what is the logical negation of the statement in the passage? When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark, but do commit to an answer. Original says some practice questions feel easy when Harvey explains them. So if some feel easy in the original, negation opposite of some is none or zero. So opposite of some in the passage is none in choice A. Some practice questions becomes no practice questions. A is the answer. Everybody got it, doing great. We got here Passion, AMC, Giovanna, Edward, Osvaldo all saying A. Passion saying A. Yannick, Zuli, Christina, Autumn, Monet, Mott all saying A. Yes, the answer in fact is A. Well done, folks. On to 32. In her Legally Blonde study group, Elle claims that all partners who attend her review sessions complete every assigned drill before leaving the library. What is the logical negation of this statement? Original says all partners who attend. Opposite of all is not all, or some do not. So which choice says some do not? When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark. Which one says some do not best? A lot of folks got it. Awesome. Everybody's saying A. Some partners who attend L sessions do not complete every assigned drill. Yes, the answer is A. We got a lot of folks got it. Yannick, Osvaldo, Edward, AMC, Christina, Giovanna, Monet, all saying A. Yes, the answer is A. Well done, folks. You all got it. On to 33. During a Better Call Saul marathon, Jimmy insists that every timed section he takes while Kim supervises finishes with at least 5 unanswered questions remaining. So original says every timed section he takes while Kim supervises. Every means all or each. Opposite of all is not all, meaning some do not. So take a moment, give it a shot. When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark, but do commit to an answer. So original says every timed section finishes with at least 5 unanswered questions remaining. So the simplest prephrase here would be to say every timed section he takes. So the original would be so just to paraphrase or summarize, every section has at least 5 unanswered remaining. Opposite would be at least, would be to say that not every finishes with at least 5 unanswered questions remaining. So opposite of every is not every, or some do not have at least 5 remaining. C says some unsupervised and with more unanswered than supervised. That I'm not sure we could really infer or even infer a logical negation from, right? Because we don't know how many he did. How many sections is he doing here? How many questions are in a section? We don't know, right? So C is not something we can logically infer either in its original form or its negated form, because we don't know how many questions are contained within a section. So for those of you who said choice C is in Charlie, I'm not sure we could say that. A says there's at least one where he finished with 0 unanswered questions. If that were true, if there was at least one where he had no unanswered questions, that would destroy the logic of the original. So A is the best answer here because it's fewer than 5. At least 5, opposite of at least 5 would be fewer than 5, right? So 0 or none is contained within fewer than 5. So A would be the best answer here and serving as a logical negation, because if A were true, it invalidates or destroys the original. It's a logical opposite. It must be false. So if A were true, that destroys the logic of the passage. Is that clicking for folks? So for those of you who said A is in fact correct. C is not correct. Again, to recap, C is not correct because we don't know how many questions are in a section, but A is encompassing the negation of the original, because opposite of at least 5 would be fewer than 5. And so no unanswered is contained there. And by the way, folks, I know this was a tricky one. If it's not clicking for anybody, you can always book that free lesson with me and we could talk through it more. On to 34, preparing LSAT reading comp. A fan of Suits believes no passages about law firm politics ever confuse Donna once she has outlined the argument structure. Let's negate this. A, at least one law firm politics passage confuses Donna after outlining it. B, Donna is confused only by passages unrelated to law firm politics. C, some law firm politics passages clarify Donna's understanding of firm strategy. Or D, every passage about law firm politics leaves Donna somewhat more confident. When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark, but do commit to an answer. Original said no passages. We want some passages or at least one. So they say no passages confuse her once she's outlined. Negation, at least one passage confuses her even after she outlined it. So yes, A is in fact the answer. Well done, folks. Opposite of none is at least one or some. Michael got it. Giovanna got it. Unique, Autumn, Monet, Christina, Zuli, Osvaldo, Matt, all saying A. Yes, A is in fact the answer. Well done, folks. On to 35. While studying flaw questions, Kim K declares that exactly one of her LSAT tutors always predicts her final scaled score correctly after each full practice test. What is a logical negation here? A, on at least one test, either no tutor or several tutors predict correctly. B, exactly one tutor correctly predicts every scaled score Kim K ever receives. C, Kim K's tutors rarely discuss scaled scores after any of her practice tests. Or D, each tutor predicts a different scaled score after every single practice test. When you have your answer, please drop it in the chat, A, B, C, or D. If you're not sure, just drop a question mark, but do commit to something. So original says exactly one of her tutors. Opposite of exactly one would be either 0 or more than 1. So which choice says none or more than 1? Choice A, of course, either no tutor or several tutors. And I see a ton of folks got it. Awesome. The answer is A. Unique, Christina, Passion, Zuli, Autumn, AMC, Giovanna, Mott, Osvaldo, Passion, all saying A. Well done. The answer is in fact A, folks. You nailed it. Well done. So out of these 35 that we did, please drop in the chat how many you got right out of the number that you completed to give us a sense of where you're at. If you got anything above 30 out of 35, that's fantastic. If you got below 30 out of 35, that's okay too. We're all here just to learn and improve over time. And whenever you're taking the LSAT, you got at least over a month, right? If you're taking it in January, you got a month and a half, nearly 2. February gives you even more time, of course. April, June, you got plenty of time. You're way ahead of schedule. We're running these free classes every single weekday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 Central, 11 Pacific, here on the LSAT Unplugged YouTube channel. If you find these helpful, please spread the word. The only way this grows is through word of mouth. I don't do any advertising for these free classes, and the algorithm doesn't really boost them because they can't run ads during a live. And so if you want this to grow, the more it grows, the more I'm going to keep doing these classes and expand them over time. Really appreciate your support. If you know anybody else studying for the LSAT in a group chat, a forum, a Discord, a Slack, Messenger chat, WhatsApp, whatever, please spread the word, share a link to these free classes. I really appreciate your support. I'll see you all tomorrow, same time, same place here on the YouTube channel. We'll be going more in depth on negation in logical reasoning. I'll see you all tomorrow. In the meantime, I wish you all the best. Take care. Thanks for joining.